How to stay calm under pressure, the Stoic method. Stoicism. The moment everything goes wrong is the moment you find out who you are. Not who you say you are. Not who you plan to be. Who you actually are, right now, when the pressure hits. And here is the uncomfortable truth. Most of us fail that test, not because we are weak, but because we were never trained for it. 2,000 years ago, a man named Marcus Aurelius ran the most powerful empire on earth while a plague killed millions of his people and wars burned along every border. His own writings, the private notes we now call meditations, show a man constantly wrestling with fear, anger, and exhaustion. And that is exactly the point. His calm was not a gift. It was not temperament. It was a trained skill, built through daily practice, and he left the training manual behind. The Stoics believed that pressure does not create your character. It reveals it. But they also believed something far more hopeful. Character can be built, deliberately, one practice at a time. So today, you are going to learn the Stoic method for staying calm under pressure, step by step. 7 steps. Each one practical. Each one tested by people who faced exile, prison, and war. Let's begin. Step 1. Pause before the first judgment. The Stoics called this the discipline of assent. Here is how it works. Something happens. Your boss calls an emergency meeting. Your phone rings at 2 in the morning. Instantly, your mind offers you a story. This is a disaster. I'm getting fired. Someone has died. Epictetus taught that the event and your judgment about the event are two separate things, and that you have a choice in the tiny gap between them. The impression arrives on its own. Your agreement to it does not. So when pressure hits, your first move is simple. Do not sign the contract your panic is offering you. Say to yourself, this is just an impression. It is not yet a fact. Picture a job interview. The interviewer frowns at your answer. Your mind whispers, you've blown it. Pause. Have you? Or did a stranger move a facial muscle? Withhold assent. Stay with what actually happened, not with the story about it. That pause is where calm begins. Step 2. Breathe, and name what is actually in your control. Once you have paused, slow your breathing and run the most famous test in all of Stoicism, the dichotomy of control. Epictetus opened his handbook with it. Some things are up to you. Your judgments, your choices, your effort, your response. Everything else is not. Other people's opinions, the traffic, the economy, the outcome itself. Under pressure, your mind grabs at everything at once, and that is why it spins. So name it out loud if you have to. Imagine the deadline from hell. The project is due in 6 hours and half of it is broken. What is not in your control? The clock, your teammate's mistake, whether the client is satisfied. What is in your control? The next fix you attempt, the honesty of your status update, the quality of your attention. Pour every ounce of energy into that second list and consciously release the first. Anxiety lives in the gap between them. Close the gap. Step 3. Shrink time down to the present task. Pressure is almost never about this exact second. It is about a future your mind is projecting. The presentation that starts in an hour. The results that come next week. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself again and again that each of us lives only in the present moment, and that this brief instant is the only thing that can be taken from us or given to us. The past is gone. The future is not here. What remains is small, and small is manageable. So when the weight feels crushing, shrink the frame. You are not giving a speech to 500 people. You are saying one sentence. Then the next one. You are not surviving a family emergency. You are making one phone call, driving one route to the hospital, asking one doctor one question. Ask yourself, what does this exact moment actually require of me? Not the whole crisis. This moment. Handle that, and the next moment will introduce itself when it arrives. Step 4. Rehearse adversity before it ever shows up. The Stoics did not wait for pressure to find them. They trained for it in advance with a practice called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of adversity. Seneca advised rehearsing difficulties in the mind before they happen, because misfortune weighs heaviest on those who expect only good luck. This is not pessimism. It is a fire drill for the soul. Before your job interview, sit quietly and imagine it going badly. The awkward silence. The question you cannot answer. The polite rejection email. Feel it, then notice something remarkable. You are still here. Still breathing. Still capable of trying again. Before you give that speech, picture the clicker dying and the slides freezing, and decide right now what you would do. When you have already met a disaster in your imagination, its real-world cousin loses the element of surprise. Pressure feeds on shock. Rehearsal starves it. The prepared mind does not ask, "Why is this happening?" It says, "I knew you might come. I am ready." Step 5. Lower the stakes with the view from above. When you are inside a crisis, it fills the entire sky. The Stoics had a cure for that, an exercise often called the view from above. Marcus Aurelius practiced imagining human affairs from a great height, seeing armies, harvests, weddings, and funerals as tiny movements on a vast landscape, whole lifetimes passing like brief flashes. Try it right now with whatever is squeezing you. Zoom out. See yourself from the ceiling, one person at a desk. Now from above the city, one building among thousands. Now from years in the future, looking back. That interview that has your heart pounding. In 10 years it will be one line in a story you tell, if you remember it at all. This is not about pretending things do not matter. Your family emergency matters enormously. But the view from above strips away the false stakes, the ego, the imagined audience, the catastrophizing, and leaves you with the true ones. And true stakes, seen clearly, are almost always more bearable than the inflated version your panic was selling. Step 6. Act on the next smallest right action. Calm is not the goal. Calm is the platform. The Stoics were not monks hiding from the world. They were senators, soldiers, and emperors, and their philosophy was built for action. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the impediment to action advances action, that what stands in the way becomes the way. Meaning, the obstacle in front of you is not blocking your path. It is your path. So once you have paused, sorted what you control, and shrunk the frame, move. But move small. Under pressure, grand plans collapse. Tiny actions compound. The deadline is impossible. Fix one bug. Send one message. The family emergency is overwhelming. Pack one bag. Make one call. Waiting backstage with shaking hands. Review your first line, just the first line, and walk out. Momentum is the enemy of panic. A body in right action leaves less room for a mind in free fall. Do not ask, "How do I solve all of this?" Ask, "What is the next smallest right thing?" Then do it. Step 7. Review afterwards, without self-flagellation. The pressure passes. This is where most people waste the lesson. They either forget the whole thing or beat themselves bloody over every mistake. The Stoics did neither. Seneca described his own nightly practice of reviewing the day, examining his actions like a fair judge, not hiding anything from himself, but not punishing himself either. He would note where he spoke too harshly or acted from fear, and then tell himself, "See that you do not do it again, and today I forgive you." That is the tone. A coach reviewing film, not a prosecutor seeking conviction. So after the interview, the deadline, the crisis, sit down and ask 3 questions. Where did I keep my composure? Where did I hand my mind over to panic? What will I practice before the next time? Guilt looks backward and paralyzes. Review looks forward and prepares. Every high-pressure moment you survive is tuition you have already paid. The review is how you collect the education. So here is the whole method, in one breath. Pause before you judge. Sort what you control. Shrink time to now. Rehearse the worst in advance. Zoom out to shrink the stakes. Take the next smallest right action. Then review with honesty and mercy. None of this removes pressure from your life. The Stoics never promised that. What they promised is better. That you can become the kind of person pressure does not break. Marcus Aurelius stood in the middle of plague and war and wrote reminders to himself, because even an emperor's calm had to be rebuilt every single morning. Yours will too. And that is good news, because it means calm is not something you are born with or without. It is something you train. The next crisis is already on its way. It always is. Start training today, and when it arrives, it will not meet the old you. It will meet someone who was ready.